as we're smoking with the blend and one of our favorite people at one of our favorite places. This is Tico Gutierrez. We're at City Cigar Lounge in downtown Miami. Thanks for hanging out, man.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for coming.
So you come into this great place, and it's sort of like three places in one. You've got an amazing bar behind us, and we'll get into that. Cool lounge space, conference rooms to have meetings, NFL draft parties and stuff. How did this all come about? Because the one thing that gets me is that we are in downtown Miami. Mm-hmm. I always thought, real quiet. We're in the shadows of the courthouse here. Why this space?
Well, it's really something that I've been thinking of doing for a very long time. And a good friend of mine ran Miami Parking Authority, and he one day we're coming to lunch, and he's like, "Didn't you want to open up a cigar lounge?" I'm like, "Yeah, but not ready." He's like, "All right." We go to lunch. We walk down the street to lunch, and when we come back, he shows me the space, and it was just 4 walls. I'm like, "Okay, so what is that?" And he's like, "That's where you're gonna put the cigar lounge." I'm like, "I'm not ready. I can't afford it." He's like, "You don't even know how much it is yet." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. It's a bad idea." And he's like, "Just wait." So it just came about. It came about like that, from one day to the next. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time.
Right.
In my real line of business, my real job, my paying job,
right.
I spend a lot of time in cigar bars. I travel a lot and always looking for a good cigar bar. And so for many years, I've been picking the things I like and the things I don't like about different cigar bars and just making a mental list. And then this came about.
Now, you're in the finance business.
Correct.
Okay, so what you would do, and I love this idea, you would, whenever your travels would take you, like say you were in Indianapolis, mm-hmm. you go to Nicky Blaine's.
Correct.
And you just did a little, so this is like a Frankenstein bar, cigar lounge of all the best places. That's pretty ingenious.
Yeah, and look, it's not over the top fancy because some people don't like that. It's not very plain because then it's boring. But, I wanted it comfortable. I wanted it to be welcoming. I wanted it to be accessible. And that's what I came up with.
Now, you told me once this was 20 years in the making. You are a patient man.
Well, I mean, it's like all great things. 20 years ago, I said, wow, I would love to have a bar, make it a cigar bar.
Right.
And I never really took myself seriously. But over time, I just, when you travel, and I remember back being in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. You're not going to find a cigar bar in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. And it's in the middle of winter. It's about 30 degrees. And my partner and I, we were up there for some class at the American College. And we're outside smoking, 30 degrees, and we're smoking cigars. And I'm like, yeah, this place, I need a place to sit down and be able to smoke indoors.
All right, so you have a cigar lounge, a damn good cigar lounge.
Thank you.
What makes a good cigar lounge for Tico Gutierrez?
For me, it's somewhere where I can sit down, be comfortable, be around people I like, have some good scotches, whiskeys, bourbons, and great cigars. And then just be able to, if I want to be alone, I sit in a corner. If I want to converse with others, I sit at the bar. If I'm in a group, I sit in the main lounge. And it just depends on what mood I'm in. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, it's the same way. I mean, some people come and they come to work. Some people come and they set up an office in the corner. And hey, more power to you. You know what? Go drink, smoke, work. There's nothing better right now. And sure beats being at home, working out of the house. Sure. So for me, that's what it's, to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it.
Do you find you have a lot of people that are working from your shop? Obviously, there's so much now remote work going on because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. And not necessarily a pandemic, just people have that flexibility now. Is that, did you go into thinking that, I need the good Wi-Fi, I need a good system set up? Was that part of it?
Yeah. When we initially designed it, one of the first things that we designed was the conference room. We said, okay, where are we going to put the conference room? Okay, because then depending on where we put the conference room depends on how we're going to humidify the cigars, where we're going to put the bar. So the conference was number one, just because in talking to a lot of attorneys and judges in the area, there's a shortage of meeting space. So they wanted somewhere to meet and somewhere where they could come, have a meeting, have a couple drinks, smoke some cigars, have some food. I mean, we have a tapas menu, so it's not over the top food, but enough to keep people there busy and not have to worry, okay, you know what, it's 6 o'clock, we haven't had dinner, we haven't had anything since lunch, let's leave. They're like, they just get some tapas and they'll stay here a couple more hours.
So let's talk about the location. Did that scare you at all? Because we are in downtown, and like I say, we are in the shadows of the Miami courthouse. I grew up in Los Angeles, so for me, downtown was always everything closed up at 6 o'clock and everybody went home. Was that what were the challenges of opening up a downtown space?
Well, it's definitely a challenge. I've been around Miami 49 of my 51 years. So I've heard all the promises. This is a new downtown. This is a new downtown. And it's always the same old downtown. But, you know, I feel like our city mayor has a vision. I see it going to work. I see a lot more people moving into downtown Miami. You see a lot more condos. I believe in the vision. And even if I was to shut down at 7 o'clock at night, because everyone has left the courthouse, you know, it's a viable business. But I do see with the Bright Line a block away, we have probably around 3,000 condos coming up within a block and a half over the next year and a half. So, you know, I really do see that Miami's turning the corner, and I want to be a part of it. I want to be on the ground floor. So is it scary? Yeah, you know what? It can get scary. When you leave and you go down the street and it's just dark at night and there's no one on the streets, you're like, yeah, maybe I made a mistake. But the good thing is that there's a plan, there's a vision, okay? And I think it aligns with a lot of what is happening in downtown Miami. So
I think one of the cool things that you mentioned, the Bright Line, which is like a train, which is, you know, the public transportation that's here in Miami. So you told me this great story. You've got a buddy that lives 20, 30 minutes away, and he literally commutes, has a good time, and goes back home.
Well, he doesn't take the Bright Line, but he takes a Metro Rail that's at the end of the street. And he tells me that he lives by University of Miami. So he grabs a scotch, grabs a cigar, smokes it and drinks it on the way to the train station, rides the train in, comes in, has a couple more cigars, a couple more scotches, takes the train back, smokes another one on his way home, and it's a great night for him. So never gets in his car, okay?
See?
Doesn't drink and drive, smokes, drinks, and doesn't have to worry about anything. And doesn't have to worry about parking either. Even though in Miami, I mean, right now in downtown Miami, we have 1,000 parking spaces above us, so there's no concerns with parking over here.
So you've got it covered. So all of this obviously went into City Cigar Lounge. Now let's get into the bones here. Let's get into the place. We talked about it. It's kind of like three places in one. Let's talk about the lounge. How much of your business comes from the courthouse?
So that's a loaded question. It's a loaded question because
it's kind of, since we're talking about lawyers and stuff, what do they say? A lawyer never asks a question that he doesn't know the answer to?
Well, the problem is that we opened our doors. We haven't had a grand opening yet.
That's right.
We opened our doors January 31st of last year. So 5 weeks later, I'll never forget, 305 day of last year, we had a Macallan tasting event here. And this place was packed. We oversold it. There was nowhere for people to sit. And the next day, the rumblings start coming out about COVID. And we got shut down the week after. So basically, we've been shut down for over a year. And we've been operating on limited capacity for the last couple months. So we really haven't had a grand opening. The courts have been closed. Now they're starting to open up. So during the day, I imagine that the courthouse will probably represent 50 to 70% of my business.
It's amazing. Now, behind us is the whiskey bar at CCL. Tell me about this is like a living, breathing thing for you. I mean, you've got some high-end stuff here. Tell me about putting all that together.
Well, I've always been a Scotch guy, and when I take on a project like this, I don't like being second best.
Right.
And, you know, I can't expect to do everything overnight, but little by little, I've been growing the selection and just trying to have as big a selection as possible back there. So I want people to come in and say, wow. Now, it's had a little bit of an adverse effect in that people get here, they stand in front of the bar, and you see it, they look to the left, they look to the middle, look to the right, they look again, they're like, oh my God, I want that. Oh, but I want that. Oh, but I've never tried that. So they get this paralysis by analysis, which, whatever, at the end of the day, it's a good thing. I tell them, look, you know what, just pace yourself and try them all. So
that's it, we're here for you.
Yeah. So, but it's been awesome. It's been awesome trying to build that. I have some scotches there that I never heard of in my life. I've expanded into bourbons.
Nice. Now you're talking my language. Now we're best friends. Now we're BFFs now.
So we have a pretty good bourbon selection.
Well, you have one of my favorite, but you have Breckenridge, and that's hard to find.
Yeah.
And you had the Caribbean cask, which
the
is
Caribbean cask.
We're gonna have to get into that.
The port cask one, which is my favorite of the Breckenridge expressions, and it's just it's trying to build the best.
Right.
I want to be the premier Scotch bourbon and whiskey bar in Miami, and I'm always going to keep on growing it. So people know I love to take chances on small brands. I mean, I have a bourbon there. Well, they call it a bourbon or a whiskey from Germany. It's a 4-year rye from Germany, and it's like people haven't heard of it. I have a Scotch there from South Africa, aged in French oak. So it's I love giving the small guy a chance to build into one of the bigger ones because we were all small guys. And that's the situation I'm in right now. I mean, there's a lot of cigar bars in the state of Florida, and there's some really big ones. And I can't expect to be one of those starting off, but I could definitely shoot for that. Right. So.
And in the conference room, which is kind of cool because you can have your meeting, you can have your annual budget meeting, you can have your NFL draft. It's all encompassing, right?
Yeah. We used it, like I said, we built it for the attorneys.
So that was part of the process. You didn't stumble upon it. You didn't say, "Oh, we have this extra space." That was a conscious effort
from day one. From day one, we were going to build a conference room, decent size. With any equipment they need built in, so it could be easy for them to use. Then it's turned into, there were 3 political campaigns run out of there last year. A lot of charities come in and they have board meetings there. I know corporations.
I know a guy who's going to run for Miami Beach mayor that may need your services too.
Hey,
so
listen,
you never know.
They're welcome. Everyone's welcome. So. So different companies come and they have their business meetings here. There's people that want to have, they invite their clients for a night out. They give them a little pitch. They do the PowerPoint presentation. Then they invite them to drinks and cigars. Yeah. So, it's a little bit of everything. And now for the draft, for the fantasy football drafts, I mean, we have like 10 reservations already for our fantasy football drafts.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about you. Tell me about Tico Gutierrez. What's your background?
Originally from Jersey. I was born in Hoboken, New Jersey.
What exit?
Yeah. Frank Sinatra and I, 2 best things out of Hoboken.
All right.
But now my mom at 2 years old, she was pregnant with my sister and said, you know what, it's too cold.
Smart lady.
We're moving to Miami. And so I pretty much grew up in Miami. Went to high school here. Went to Belen. So a lot of friends. A lot of friends in the area, and that's really like a second family to me. So I probably have more Belen friends than I do family.
Now, I'm not asking for any names or any, but you grew up in Miami because we're about the same age. You grew up during the serious, crazy times in Miami, like Billy Corbin and the Cocaine Cowboys era. That had to be tough to grow up in this area because Miami, for as much as they want to say it's a big city, it's a small town.
Yeah, it's a small town.
And so everybody knows everybody. So everybody knew Willie or Sal or this guy or that. Everybody knew. So that had to be tough growing up.
Well, luckily I was in high school when that was going on.
Right.
So I was a little shielded from that craziness. So I really didn't get to experience it too much. I wasn't in the clubs at that time, which is a good thing. Probably experienced some of it early on in the early 90s.
Sure.
But you know, surround yourself with good people and you don't get into trouble. So
Right.
I had a good nucleus of friends, good nucleus of family, and we always stuck together. We never got into that type of trouble. So
That's amazing.
avoided it.
That's amazing. All right, so now I want to talk about it's my favorite question here on Smoking with the Blend, is how did the cigar find you? Because I am convinced we don't find the cigar finds us. So how did the cigar find Tico Gutierrez?
Well, my grandfather growing up, obviously, old Cuban guy, always smoked cigars. So in my house, he always sat in his recliner in front of the TV. He had a little stand to the side, okay, and that stand, he had a little box, and that's where he would keep his lighters, that's where he would keep some cigars, and he'd always smoke cigars. And he was the only one that smoked in my house because my dad never smoked cigars. But I grew up around that, and I love the smell because it reminded me of my childhood.
Sure.
And then about 20-something years ago, I went to Mexico chasing after a girlfriend. She invited me to Mexico for Christmas. So we went over there. I met her uncle, and this is a great guy that has since passed away. But he says, step into my office. And he was this big, intimidating guy. He was like the Don of the whole family.
Okay.
He was the Don pretty much of the city. And he gives me a cigar. And I'm like, and I had smoked some cigars in college, but not too much. And then he gives me a cigar, and it was I'll never forget, it was a Te Amo. And it wasn't the good Te Amos.
Right. Right.
And that thing was a kick to the lungs. But I couldn't say no. And then just started smoking, found other cigars that I liked over there, started bringing them over here. And then I had a lot of friends in the business. A couple of friends of mine had Maccabi cigars early on over off US 1 and Sunset. So started hanging out there. Went to school with George Padron. He's a couple years older than me, but went to school together.
Sure.
So there was always Padrones all over the place. And then I had a lot of friends in the business. Christian Hidro was a good friend. And, you know, it's always around me. And it was something I liked. And every time I grabbed a cigar, it reminded me a little bit of my grandfather. So
What would your grandpa think of this place?
that's a waste of space.
Really?
Nah. Well, he would be very comfortable in the chairs, but he liked sitting at home, smoking a cigar.
Right.
Okay. Or walking to the supermarket, smoking a cigar, or watching a baseball game of mine, smoking a cigar. He was never one he didn't drink. So for him, it's like he always had a cigar in his hand, and he just wanted to be comfortable. He didn't want people to bother him. Okay. But
I can relate to that.
when he would walk to the supermarket, he'd have a cigar and he'd be talking to everyone. So, you know, to him, this probably wouldn't be his type of place. But I like to think that if he was around, he'd probably be sitting in a corner enjoying one of my chairs. And
Absolutely.
because when I built it, it reminded me a lot, without the recliner part, of what he had. So
I love it. Well, I know I can tell you he would be proud. We're proud. We love this place. It's City Cigar Lounge in downtown Miami. It's Tico Gutierrez. How do we find you?
41 Northwest 2nd Street, like I said, in the middle of all 5 courthouses that we have down here.
A little bit of relief with all the
yeah.
courthouses, you know, a little bit of good time.
And we're in the ground floor of the parking garage. So when you look and you see the parking garage, we're on the ground floor. So
Instagram, social media, where do we find it?
City Cigar Lounge. And you're going to find it on all the channels.
All right. We're going to grab some of that Breckenridge and talk some more.
Sounds good.
It's Tico Gutierrez, and you're smoking with the blend. All right, now this is my favorite time. We are behind the bar at City Cigar Lounge with the man, Tico Gutierrez, guy who owns the joint. Now this place, this is a shrine to all that is alcohol, spirits, and vibes. I mean, look at this place. I mean, this is a living, breathing organism here, my friend.
And growing.
Tell me how you put all this stuff together.
Talking to a lot of people that know a lot more than I do.
Right.
So my focus was on a couple brands. That's all I drank. That's all I knew about. And when I set out to build this, I talked to a lot of people and found out what's out there. So it led me into a lot more single malts than just Macallan and Glenlivet. It led me to a lot of bourbons because I had never had bourbon.
Right.
I mean, they had offered me Jack Daniels, but wasn't exactly what I was drinking.
Sure.
And now I have an incredible selection of bourbons, and a lot of times I find myself going to bourbon instead of Scotch. So changing it up.
I'm in the bourbon phase of my life. So how is the bar sort of broken up? Because I see a lot of your Macallans here, a lot of your Blue Labels here. So how's it broken up?
All right. So these are single malts. Here are the blends, and then these are all single malts here, all the way up, and then up there I got Japanese whiskeys and the Taiwanese whiskeys, which are making a huge inroads. This is tequila, rum, some more single malts because I ran out of space, and then just some more rums, Canadian whiskeys, some other tequilas down here, vodka, gin. Mm-hmm. This way we got all the bourbons.
Right.
This is all bourbons, and then Louis XIII on top.
Got to have Uncle Louis up there, my friend.
And then more bourbons, Irish whiskeys over here, and then the cognacs up there.
All right, so I want to know, when somebody comes in and says, because we're in the shadows of the Miami-Dade courthouse, so who orders Uncle Louis up there?
A lot of different people, believe it or not.
So you sell a good amount.
Yeah, since January 31st of last year, that's our third or fourth bottle. So it might be an attorney that wins a big case. It might be someone celebrating a birthday. It might be someone that's their drink of the day because they deserve it. Yeah. They want to treat themselves. So it's a little bit of everything.
All right, so I think I know what I want to drink.
All right.
I think I'm set there. Let's go get some smokes, man. Let's get some sticks. Great selection. Come on. All right, now comes the best part. Now, this is like Christmas Day. The huge humidor you've got wraps around. This is a good, it's kind of like a V-L-shaped situation here. How many cigars you got?
Wow. Haven't really counted, but I think we're probably about 400 faces.
Okay.
400 different boxes of cigars. So running out of space, or pretty much I've run out of space. So I'm trying to move some, trade others, just to bring in some new brands.
Now, what I love, and this to me, it's the little details about it. What you do is you have your staff pick out the cigars for people. I like that. I like that situation.
Yeah, it's one of my pet peeves. Going to a cigar bar or going to a cigar store, and there's always that one person that goes in, grabs a cigar, squeezes it, rubs it on their nose, and it may or may not have cellophane. And if it has cellophane, I don't know what they're smelling. If it doesn't have cellophane, then they're just rubbing their nose on a cigar that someone's going to smoke, and then they put it back. So I didn't want that to happen, and it was a godsend when COVID happened. Now I don't have anyone touching the cigars. It's only my staff.
I mean, I'm not a germaphobe, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that, and I think it brings a nice little kind of upper scale quality about it, where it's all
about service. Yeah. It's all about service. We're here to serve, and we're going to serve you. It might be liquor, it might be food, it might be a cigar. We're here to serve you, and we want to just run the full gamut on that.
Now, you've got all the usual heavy hitters, all the usual players. Tell me how you arrange things. Tell me what goes where, how it goes. How do you go about doing that?
Well, people a lot smarter than me told me that you should always display everything vertical.
Sure.
This becomes a game of Jenga, trying to get all the different cigar boxes in there, because every brand has a different size box.
Yeah.
So there's no uniformity. So it's trying to make everything fit, and you want to keep all the brands together, and sometimes it becomes difficult. But they told me display everything vertically. I'm like, all right. So I display things vertically, and I have seen actually people tend to like it a little bit more than when I had it all horizontally.
The presentation's amazing.
So
what's your, here you got your Plasencias over here, all the other good cigars that you've got here. How do you decide which ones to get?
I listen to my guests. Yeah. See what they like. Obviously, I have Padron, which is one of the probably top selling brand in the United States. So you got to have that. Plasencia is doing incredibly well. Right now, Iroa has just, ever since he started this brand after Camacho Cigars, he's been blowing up. And there's a lot of people coming in asking for it, so we do extremely well with him. My father's cigars, you can't go wrong with my father. You can't go wrong with
That's what I'm smoking right now. I've got a little La Promesa going. What do you smoke?
the Iroa Colorado. So I was just there picking up some cigars yesterday, and they gave me a sample. So I said, oh, you know what? I might as well smoke it. So
Right there, little My Father, La Promesa. Shout out to our friend Maciel, who always takes care of us.
The Iroa Colorado, first 20 years. So Arturo Fuentes, you can't have a cigar shop without
Friday
Arturo
Fuentes, right? Yeah, you got to do that.
And then I got the Ashtons, the Coivas, the Romeo Julietas, the Aladinos, which is a great cigar.
And just the presentation, because you walk in, and to me, the bar catches you because that's the first thing you see when you walk in. But then this whole wrap-around humidor is so cool. It's a great design. Is that something that just came because of the space, or is that something
That was planned.
That was planned.
That was planned.
It makes it look bigger. It makes it look. Half the store is a humidor.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Didn't want to have a walk-in humidor.
Right.
Because
why not?
Because I kind of like the feeling. Well, I like seeing all the cigars from anywhere I am, and my favorite spot is in this corner. And then I feel like I'm being wrapped in cigars. So I got cigars all around me. So I usually got a good Scotch or bourbon in front of me, and I got all the cigars around me. So I'm in heaven.
Now, I'm a stickler, and you seem to me a guy who's a stickler for the details. I want to show you these chairs. Come here, let's take a look. Now, just as important as what we're drinking and what we're smoking is where we're doing such things. Custom-made chairs. These things they're butter, as our New Yorkers would say. It's butter. What went into even the chairs are, it's a stickler to detail with you.
Yeah, well, I found a manufacturer up in Boca, Scandinavian family that custom makes all this home theater furniture and all these sofas. And I asked them if they could make these for me. And so
everything in here is custom made.
Yeah, all the chairs are custom made. So they made them for me. They said, okay, find a shape you like. So I sat in a bunch of chairs, found the one I liked, and I said, oh, find the density of the
the
density of the foam that goes into it. I found the one that I liked that was gonna last.
Right.
And then they said, all right, what leather do you want to put on it? And they showed me like 1,000 leathers.
What color is this? This is like cherry mahogany, or
This is like football.
Football. That's
And
it.
he even has the pebble grain.
I
So
love it.
it's I just wanted comfortable. Like I said, I wanted something that reminded me of where my grandfather used to sit and where I loved to sit when he wasn't there, and something comfortable, and somewhere where people can stay a while and their butt's not gonna hurt, and not like some place we mentioned earlier that I love the place, Nicky Blaine's up in Indianapolis.
Right.
I mean, their furniture's been there forever.
Right.
And there you go, and you just sink into the
You're sitting on the
sofas.
floor.
And
We love
and
it.
it's
We
great.
love Nicky Blaine's.
We love
We love
Nicky.
Nicky.
I love Nicky Blaine's. But being a new place, I figured, you know what, I need to start with something a little firmer, and comfortable, easy in and out, something that's gonna last, and
Now, speaking of lasting, we said we're in the shadows of the Miami-Dade courthouse. You've got a conference room here. Badass situation, badass place. Let's take a look at the conferences because you can do so much more there, okay? Everything from work to pleasure and a little bit in between. Let's take a look. Bueno, we're in the conference room at City Cigar Lounge, and this, Tico, is amazing what you got going on here, my brother.
thank you.
I
thank
mean,
you.
look at all this going on here. Great table, so you can have your a formal meeting and some fun too. What do you got going on in here?
A little bit of everything. Like I said, mostly meetings. So mostly meetings where people can connect on the ground. They can connect to the TV. They connect their PowerPoints over there. We've used it just for regular meetings. Like I said, there were a couple campaigns, political campaigns being managed out of here.
Right.
There was paper everywhere.
Love it.
We've had poker tournaments here. So
For
behind
entertainment,
closed doors.
for
Exactly,
entertainment purposes
exactly.
only. Of
So
course.
no money exchanged hands at the table or in the bar. And then fantasy football drafts.
Yes.
So if they need the little privacy for the draft, we'll do it here. And then after they go and they argue about who had a better team. So,
Amazing.
outside.
I mean, what a great place.
Thank you.
Now, we've got our drinks, We've got our smokes, we got our comfortable chair, we got a place to hang out, conduct a little business to pay for all this stuff. Now comes food. Let's take a look, right?
Let's go.
All right, so we have got our drinks, we've got our sticks, we saw the conference room, the lounge. Those chairs are the bomb, by the way. What are you drinking?
This is Buchanan's 12 aged in Don Julio casks.
Que fino. And I got my little Breckenridge Caribbean, because, you know, it is Miami. So, and now we've got the food. What is going on here?
Well, this is just a little example of some of our menu. We have our fish dip, which is probably one of our best-selling items on the menu. It's 100% smoked mahi. So
Now,
that's spectacular.
I heard there was like a process for this thing, right?
Yeah, we actually, I got some of my investors and close friends involved when we were putting out the food menu. And
I apologize. I wasn't available when you called me.
yeah, you know, I left you a message. So you didn't get the beeper, beeper message?
The beeper, yeah.
Okay.
911.
So we had 10 different fish dips here, and we blind tasted them all with everyone, and 90% of the guys, 9 guys out of 10, picked that one. So we knew it was a winner.
And then you got your charcuterie.
And the charcuterie board here is just a small example. It's all Spanish meats. Everything is brought in from Spain.
Hey, for a little Cuban kid to be able to say charcuterie, that's a win for me right there.
You earned your drink.
All right, absolutely. And oh, by the way, in honor of your lovely Mexican bride, we got to get some hot sauce, of course. For
There you
what's
go.
the fish sauce without this?
That's real Mexican hot sauce brought over from Mexico. So
Oh, well, here we go.
Yeah.
So let's dig into this, huh? Provechito.
buen provechos.
All right. Here,
Salud.
cheers. Salud. Let me try some of this fish dip here, because, you know, got to make sure it's up. Is this super hot?
No.
So we'll put a little extra. Let's see what we got here. Sorry for the crunching. Oh my God.
If there's no crunch, then we got a problem.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't know what you're going to eat, but this is mine, right?
You can have it. You can
This
have
is mine. And I love the fact, and I think you brought it up. You come here, you have your cocktail, watch the game, and you don't want people to leave after maybe they have their cigar, a couple of cocktails, and now you've got another offer for them.
Well, the thing is not really that I don't want them to leave. They don't want to leave.
Right.
So a lot of times people leave because they get hungry and they feel like they've had a couple of drinks. They need to get some food in their system. So instead of coming in and letting Uber Eats bring food, and then someone brings in smelly fish or something, and then, you know, it just ruins the moment for everyone else. So I figured, you know what, let's have something here that people will appreciate, great quality stuff, and go from there.
I love it. It's simple, and it's great, and it hits the point. Listen, City Cigar Lounge, downtown Miami, Tico Gutierrez, this is awesome. Experience this. You've got to come down. Where do we find you on social media?
City Cigar Lounge on Facebook and Instagram. And when you come to downtown, 41 Northwest 2nd Street on the ground floor of the parking garage.
Well, I wish you nothing but success.
Salud.
You're well on your way, my friend. Smoking with the blend. Good tour. Salud.